Abnormal Andy, and Phantom Dark Dave. The Screaming Skull Podcast.
Welcome to another episode of the Screaming Skull Podcast, a place where horror fans can call home. I'm your host, Phantom Dark Dave, and I'm here with Abnormal Andy. What's up, dude?
Hey, what's up, Dave? How you doing?
Doing good, man. We're approaching Thanksgiving.
That's right, yeah. Lots a good time to eat a lot of food and see your family if you don't live next to them or live close to them.
You saying if you live next door, you won't go over there?
Oh, well, sure, I guess. But yeah, this is a good time to see those people that maybe you don't live next door to.
Oh, okay. I think this is a good time to bring out the stretchy pants because you know you're going to eat seconds, if not thirds, of all the helpings. And I got a question for you, man. What's your favorite Thanksgiving side dish? So let's assume you're down with the turkey. What goes with the turkey?
So I think my favorite's probably got to be mashed potatoes and gravy.
Dude, I would have won $1 million. Like, I knew you were going to say that. And let me guess, brown gravy over cream gravy?
You know, I'm either or kind of guy. I like them both.
Oh, he likes them both. You heard it here first, folks. That's awesome, man. Yeah, I can get down with some mashed potatoes. That's good stuff. I think for me, one of my biggest side dishes I get excited for would be deviled eggs.
Oh yeah, deviled eggs are awesome. Yeah, I love those too.
Yeah, I like I said, I'm with you. I love mashed potatoes, but like you can have mashed potatoes more times than not for dinner. But, like, how rare is it to have the deviled eggs, right? It seems like only time you see those is for special occasions, most prominently holidays, like maybe Christmas, Thanksgiving, maybe Easter if you do stuff. But otherwise, you're telling me I only eat deviled eggs like 3 times a year. I got to rectify.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things that you could just eat all the time, I feel like, and be okay.
Maybe it's like you're not supposed to eat them all the time because maybe that makes some bathroom issues. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, I mean, I can attest to that because, you know, my farts really stink after I eat some deviled eggs.
Man, we got people getting ready for Thanksgiving dinner. They don't want to hear about your farting, you sodium farts. But, hey, you just came back from Honduras not too long ago, and you said eggs were a big deal over there. I wonder if they do deviled eggs.
That's a good question. I don't know. Well, I'll have to ask them.
Next time you go back, be like, can we have deviled eggs? See what they say. But
yeah.
Now I'm real excited we're here, man. I love putting these episodes out. But, you know, every time we approach a holiday, we try to get a holiday-themed movie, and we had to go with kind of the obvious this time. It just made sense.
Yeah, so to let you know what's happening in this episode, we're going to be doing some horror news, and then we're going to be... in the middle segment, we're actually going to be doing an Amityville segment where we each pick a random Amityville movie that's a surprise to each of us and do a little mini review of each movie. And in our main event, we're going to talk about Thanksgiving from 2023.
And that's real exciting because this will be Andy's first time watch, and this will be my first rewatch. And so we'll have to reveal the secrets of how we feel about that movie. But it's always fun when you can talk about a slasher.
Oh, yeah, man, for sure. I mean, we're as big of fans of 80s slashers as we are, you know, definitely anytime we get like a new slasher, a quality slasher, yeah, we got to check it out.
Let's be honest, they don't have to be much quality either.
That's true.
We do talk about Amityville movies, for crying out loud.
Yeah, that's true.
Cool, man, let's kickstart this thing. You want to go first with some horror news?
Horror News.
Okay, so kind of the big thing that was in the news here, as I guess it's been within the last couple of weeks, was the passing of the great Tony Todd. And, you know, for everybody that may not be familiar with the name, you know, he was the guy in Candyman. He was Candyman. And he was in Final Destination, the series. I think it was kind of implied that he was Death, maybe.
Yep.
Let's see, what else?
He was in the Night of the Living Dead remake from the 90s.
Oh, that's right. Yes, he was Ben. Yeah,
I think he was in The Crow, the original Crow.
That's right.
Yeah.
He was.
He was in a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, he's been in a lot of stuff, horror stuff, and just that voice. His voice is awesome, and just he's got that look too that's very unique, and so he's definitely going to be missed. And you know, it just kind of puts me in the mood to kind of go through his film catalog and just start watching his movies.
Oh, I absolutely love that. In fact, I can tell you one of my absolute favorite movies that he's in, and you have seen it, but I bet it's been a long time because we briefly talked about it. You might remember this. He was in Shadow Builder.
Oh, okay.
Remember that Clive Barker based movie that Jamie Dixon, I think, directed?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one that I still have on VHS, and I still love it because I saw it back when I first started getting into horror back in the mid 90s. And I remember I had met Tony Todd one time, and it was back in 2003. And of course, everybody was there for the Candyman stuff. And I can't let this go without saying he has a big presence in Star Trek as well. And so if you're Star Trek Next Generation fan, DS9 fan, he's a little, Klingon love. And he also played Jake Sisko in an older episode. But I didn't watch Star Trek in the 90s. So when I was there to meet Tony Todd, also known as Candyman. And when I stood next to him, I remember thinking, holy crap, this guy is super tall. And it was really cool because I told him, I was like, everybody's here to meet Candyman. But I liked you in Shadow Builder. And he stopped signing, and he looked up at me, and he goes, you saw that movie? And I was like, yeah, I love it. And he's like, that's a good little film. And then it was just cool. And then he signed my stuff, and I went on my way. But I had that 30-second interaction, and it was really cool.
Yeah, I mean, because it's probably kind of cool to hear somebody, talk about a movie that you may have done that may be a little bit more obscure that not everybody talks about. And so, I'm sure that he appreciated that, the fact that you brought that up, and that there is. I mean, I'm sure he's happy with his claim to fame being Candyman, but he's done a lot of other stuff too. So it's always cool to kind of see what else is out there. Yeah,
that one hurt. It always hurts when you hear about somebody passing away. It's kind of strange for us because as horror fans, we all kind of feel like a family because for a long time we were always outsiders because we liked horror. But it's kind of cool to like horror nowadays. So, we're all proud of it. But, when you hear somebody from the horror genre passes away and leaves you, it crushes you a little bit. And so I'm kind of like you. Now that he's gone, it kind of makes me wish, I'd taken more opportunities to meet him, but definitely want to rewatch some of the classics that he did. And so I'll have to take Julie down that road for sure.
Yeah.
Way to depress us, Andy. You start off with something sad. All right, Andy. Well, I want to tell you about a horror movie that's in theater right now. I know we got kind of excited. It's A24's psychological thriller with Hugh Grant, Heretic. You remember this one?
Yeah, I've heard about it. I haven't watched it yet, though. Have you?
I have not seen it, and it's only because, I really want to see it. It looks really good. It looks enticing, and just to see Hugh Grant play this kind of role, I'm very interested. But, going to the movies is expensive, and we went 3 or 4 times last month, and I told myself, all right, I'm going to take a break. And then, of course, this movie came out, and I was like, damn it. But I wanted to be a man of my word, so I'm kind of waiting for digital on this one. But one thing that's really cool is I am paying attention to the success it's having. And, this movie has a $10 million budget, but it's already brought in over $26 million worldwide. And so I think for A24, that's a success because they say for a movie to be successful, it has to make about 2.5 times its budget, which that's exactly where that's at. And it's only been a couple of weeks, so I'm excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, that's great. It's always exciting to see a horror movie do well at the box office.
Yeah, for sure. And I didn't go down Hugh Grant's filmography or anything, but I sure can't name another horror movie off the top of my head that he's in. So this is kind of cool.
Yeah, I can't think of any of other movies either. So yeah, this may be his first.
It might be, and I'm not out there being like, yo, I'm a huge Hugh Grant fan, but I've seen a few movies he's in, and he's fine. I got no problem with him. But man, I like it's just like Robin Williams. Everybody loves Robin Williams, and he was amazing as a comedian. But man, when he started making horror movies, I was like, this is awesome. So I'm hoping similar effect.
Yeah. All right. Well, I mentioned Tony Todd as in the first story, but or in the first thing that I mentioned, but I ran across this article is talking about 2025 will be the year of the Legacy sequel, and they gave us 7 to look out for. So of course, like I said, I mentioned Tony Todd, and so there is going to be a new Final Destination movie. It's called Bloodlines, and don't really have a release date yet, but it's supposed to be 2025 sometime. But yeah, I'm excited for that. let's see, just going down the list here. And what I mean by a legacy sequel is like maybe like movies that came out like 20 years ago or more. They're like getting a brand new sequel like next year, basically. So
that's a
like
new
I said,
kind of like I've known in the subgenre, but it's like, oh, we have a name for it now.
yeah. So it's kind of like how
Like Beetlejuice.
exactly Beetlejuice, Alien Romulus, The First Omen. Those were new sequels for like old franchises.
Got it.
And so coming up, right at the top of the list, and this one is coming out June 20th of next year. This is 28 years later.
Oh yeah, Danny Boyle.
Yeah. So I think a lot of people are excited for this one because, 28 days later, 28 weeks later, those are all strong movies. And was there there was only two of those, right? There hasn't been a third one yet, right?
Yeah, they talked about a missed opportunity with 28 months later, but it was never made. So here we go with 20.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's coming out. The next one, July 18th, is I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Interesting.
And so I don't know anything about that one. I think earlier, in one of our earlier episodes, I mentioned that like maybe the old cast might be coming back. Like
I know the main two are for sure.
Oh, like Freddie Prinze Jr. and
Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Jennifer Love Hewitt. Yeah, that'd be cool if they did come back.
See, you call it a legacy sequel because of the timeline, but it makes me wonder if it's going to be that or a requel. Where are they going to acknowledge what happened in I Still Know What You Did Last Summer?
Right, yeah.
I'm okay if they don't, because that movie was weird, but,
All right, so August 29th, we got a new Insidious movie called Thread.
I've seen a little bit about this. Did you look into who was attached to this?
No, I don't really know anything about it.
Okay, I don't know. I mean, I love the Insidious franchise, so I'm always trying to look stuff up. I'm a big Patrick Wilson fan, and so anything that he's remotely tied into, I try to get my hands on. But when I saw Thread, I was just like, oh, this isn't... I thought it was like the Dark Realm or something. What is this? And I thought I saw like Mandy Moore was attached to it, and I go, this can't be right. But then again, if it is right, it's another example of somebody who doesn't traditionally do horror doing a horror movie. And so I'll keep my eyes open for that. But yeah, man, I mean, there's 5 Insidious movies, and I like them all. How about you?
Yeah, I like the ones I've seen.
How many have you seen?
I've seen 1, 2, and 4.
You skipped number 3?
Yeah, because I went to the theater to see something and 4 was playing, so I saw 4.
Okay.
And I hadn't seen 3 yet, but yeah. I really liked 4, though. I think a lot of people didn't really like it, but I thought it was cool.
Yeah, 4. So, 1 and 2 were directed by James Wan. 3 was actually directed by Lee Winnell, which is really cool. It was his first feature film. I forgot the name of the guy who did the 4th one. I like the 4th one, The Last Key. It's good. It does get kind of crazy. Like they really push something, and I'm like, whatever, I'm bought in. So I enjoyed it, but I could see where there might be a disconnect for folks. But to me, I feel like 5 like really brings it home. I really, really like the 5th one. So Andy, you should watch that. I'd love to hear your feedback, or we'll do it on the podcast if we have to.
Yeah,
The Red Door.
So then, let's see, going down the list here, September 5th, we have The Conjuring Last Rites.
Speaking of Patrick Wilson, here we go.
Yeah, so it says, paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren take on one last terrifying case involving mysterious entities that they must confront. So we don't really know what... So usually most of the Conjuring movies are based off of real-life cases, right?
Yes.
So we don't really know what this one's going to be based off of, but yeah, it should be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you're reading the description and I hear you say like the last case, and I'm just like, a tear rolls down because I don't want this to be the last Conjuring movie. I know a lot of people are kind of burned out on the franchise. I am not in that group, but maybe since this is the last one, they're kind of going to put everything they have into it, and we'll see what happens. But I can guarantee you I'll be there opening night, bro.
Oh, yeah.
Phantom Dark Dave, Ed the Undead, Renee, Marty, all my people. You know who you are, Jose. Of course, our ladies as well. But I'm telling you, if somebody don't show up, I'm ending friendships, Andy. That's how serious it gets.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, you get a pass because you don't live next door.
Well, you know who goes with me to see movies? To see horror movies?
Tell me.
Me, myself, and I.
Yeah, I saw that coming a mile away. But that's okay because you're accompanied by your popcorn and your large drink.
That's true. Yep. Yeah, so you're going to be excited for this next one. So September 26th.
I was already excited. Here we go.
We're getting a new Saw movie.
Oh, yes.
The plot is currently under wraps, so we don't know what it's about. But yeah, Saw 11. It just says the game continues.
You damn right it does. I'm in. You know who else is excited? Julie's excited. That's her favorite horror franchise, and I love that about her. She's so special. Like, not only does she watch horror with me, like, to say that the Saw franchise is your favorite, it's just like a bold statement saying, I'm here for the torture, let's go. But, I'm so excited, man, because Saw 10 felt a little under par. What do you call that? Subpar, maybe, compared to a lot of the other ones. I really liked all the Saw movies, and then there was a trend with like Jigsaw and Spiral, and I was like, I like this new approach they're doing. And then Saw 10, I was kind of like, okay, I'm here for it. But then I was like, oh man, that might be my absolute least favorite Saw film. But depending on what the story is, the Saw 11, because Saw is something that has a very, I won't say convoluted, but I'll say a very interesting like storyline. And you know, because you've watched a couple of Saw films, you could tell that it goes places.
Yeah, I've seen up to Saw 4. I've seen Saw 4. That's the latest one I've seen. So
how could you stop? You must have some kind of willpower. I don't. Yeah. Andy, are you the kind of person that could also eat just one potato chip? Because I can't do that.
Yeah, it's funny. I am that kind of person, and my wife kind of gets frustrated with, or you know, she's not that kind of person. So I can just like grab a handful of something, eat it, and be done. But like. Yeah, so it's just, I don't know. I'm just that kind of person. I don't know.
Okay. Weird.
So, yeah. So, okay, November 7th, we got a new Predator movie, Predator Badlands.
Oh, I've never heard of this. Okay.
Should be interesting. Yeah. And so that's it. That's the legacy sequels that are coming out next year so far that we know of. So, yeah, I think next year could be a really cool year in horror, man.
It can for the mainstream stuff. I'll be interested to see what happens in the independent circuit, but I do have my eyes on some of those big ones for sure. And Predator, we'll see. I'll judge based off the trailer because I didn't even watch Prey, the one that was on Hulu. Did you watch that?
Yes, I did see it. It was pretty good.
I like Alien, I like Predator, but they're not top tier for me. And so without proper motivation, I might go without watching them. And so I'm going to need that motivation to watch this movie, Andy. I expect to hear from you.
All right, yeah.
1 year later. So, cool, man. Well, I told you about a movie that was currently in theater, and you just told me about movies that were coming to theater. Let me tell you about some movies that are at home. And so, as you know, I'm still a big physical media release guy, and so I like to pay attention to what's getting released. And we got a couple of good ones out there. We have Speak No Evil is now available on 4K Blu-ray. I feel like on our earlier episodes, we were just talking about how that was in theater. Now it's already on release in physical format, so that's cool. We have North by Northwest, which is 4K Blu-ray and Steelbook. And, North by Northwest, Cary Grant's an Alfred Hitchcock movie. Are you a big fan of Alfred Hitchcock?
Yeah, I do like some Alfred Hitchcock. Now, that is kind of one of those areas where I haven't seen a whole lot of movies. I've seen Psycho, I've seen Rear Window, I've seen The Birds when I was a kid, and I think that might be it.
Well, so Psycho is definitely like his most horror of the bunch because a lot of his movies were more, I won't say murder mystery, but they took you on a journey. It's hard to explain, very much the way that Rear Window does. And Rear Window is actually Julie's favorite. Mine's actually Rope. You've never seen Rope?
No, never seen it. Yeah,
Rope's a really good one. I think, if I'm not mistaken, that was his first colorized movie, but you'd have to fact check me on that one. But that one's really cool because the entire movie is done in just 15 shots.
Wow, yeah, that's cool.
And they tried to make it look like one seamless shot. And I bet for the time period it was pretty outstanding to folks because, shit, it's outstanding to me today. But I got two more I want to talk to you about. Godzilla -1 is on Blu-ray. Are you a Godzilla fan?
You know, I kind of am. I was a big Godzilla fan when I was a little kid, and I kind of grew out of it, I guess, a little bit. But with these newer movies coming out, I'm kind of into them. I've only seen the first new movie, but I haven't seen the rest of them. But
Wasn't that back in like 2014?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
The new stuff. That's cool, man. Well, you've almost seen more than me. I want to be a big fan, and I like, you and I are monster movie kids, but it seems like our monsters are, they're sometimes astronomical, but more times than not, it's, I say life size, but our monsters are more like 6 feet tall usually, right?
right, yeah.
Okay. But maybe we should do that. I bet people would love to hear that on the podcast. I know Ed the Undead, my brother from another mother and father, he's a big kaiju fan, and so he loves him some Godzilla movies, and Renee does too. Can't leave him out. But yeah, I saw a little bit about Godzilla -1, and there was a lot of hype. Apparently, this one's like really, really good. It's a great throwback, and I think it might be a prequel to the original Godzilla, and that's why it's called -1. I could be wrong, but I think that's the point of it. So if it does any really good segues to the original, it probably has a lot of people liking it.
Yeah, I've definitely heard a lot of buzz around it. I think it came out last year, so it was on a lot of people's top 10 2023 movie lists.
Oh, for sure. And I think this movie had 2 releases. They did it in black and white and in color, and I think the black and white's like a one-off, but I'd have very much been interested in that version for sure.
Yeah, that would be a cool experience for sure. Seeing the movie theater, black and white.
Exactly. You don't get that nowadays too much.
No.
The last thing I wrote down here, it's a little side detour, right, from what we normally do, because it's not a horror movie, but it's a movie that's very important to me, so I wanted to talk about it. It is the 45th year anniversary of my favorite sci-fi film of all time, which is Star Trek: The Motion Picture. And so that came out back in like 79, and it now has a Blu-ray steelbook. And yeah, man, this is kind of funny because I like to look at like what special features are included, and there wasn't really anything that shocked me because they release this movie all the time. There's DVD, there was a director's cut, then there's Blu-ray, there's all kinds of stuff. There's only so much you can do with old footage, right? It's not like you can record new stuff unless it's like film historians talking about it. But one thing that it made me laugh was the subtitle option. So there's no excuse for folks who have interest in this movie but say they don't speak English, because this thing has subtitles that are English, French, German, Italian, Spanish, Danish, Dutch, Finnish, Norwegian, and Swedish. And it just kind of cracked me up because I was like, that's some Star Trek love if I've ever heard it.
Yeah, I think they got all their bases covered for anybody that doesn't speak English.
So I expect you to watch this movie, Andy. What?
Hey, this is actually a Star Wars movie that I've seen.
This is not a Star Wars movie. Fool, it's Star Trek.
Oh, geez, I'm so sorry.
Oh, man, you want me to jump out of this damn computer chair. You know what's really funny? Our buddy Randy here on Mars, he did the same stuff back in the day. We were doing a podcast, and he said Star Wars, and I was like, what? I had to troll him a little bit.
Yeah, that's funny because him doing that's funny. I mean, me doing it, it's like whatever.
You're kind of get a pass because I'm like, well, you don't watch it anyway, but yeah. But what were you going to say, though? Like, don't tell me you've seen this movie.
Yes, I have seen the original Star Trek movie, the motion picture.
What? Yes. Would you ever do it on the podcast?
I mean, I guess if the listeners wanted it, sure.
Okay, well, if we end up doing this show for a while and people are requesting more episodes, and we can do like a Patreon thing where we do like, because I know we try to focus on modern horror movies because we're trying to appeal to kids today and people who are getting into horror now and everything, and lifetime horror fans like a little bit of everything, but you got to go where people are listening. So with a Patreon, maybe we could do older horror movies and non-horror movies if people like us enough and want to hear us talk about stuff, because I am a massive Star Trek fan and I would love to hear like your opinion on this movie. So maybe we'll put that down in the cookie jar and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, cool.
They're like, next episode, Star Trek Motion Picture. What? It was my pick. I got to do what I want. But that's all I got for horror news, bro. I'll hand it back to you. Do you have anything else?
All right. Yeah. So, we have the holidays coming up, and, one of the things that comes around every Christmas is those ugly Christmas sweaters. And so we all know about Spirit Halloween, right?
Yes.
So it's just a store that sells Halloween decorations, costumes, anything Halloween, basically.
Not to be confused with Spirits that sells alcohol.
Oh, yeah. So Spirit Halloween has now expanded their reach to include Christmas. So
What?
for the next, it says for the next month, Satan turns into Santa, and all their stores transform into winter wonderlands, selling traditional holiday decor and everything Yule. Yeah, so it says it's kind of doing a crossover between Halloween and Christmas called Creepmas.
Ooh.
And but it's not just Nightmare Before Christmas, things lining the shelves. It's not just Nightmare Before Christmas stuff. It's other horror stuff too. They have let's see. So the Spirit Christmas idea is still in the testing stage. It's only available on the East Coast.
Oh.
But they do have a website.
Shout out to our East Coast listeners, our screamers over there. If you...
Yeah, so I guess the website's not super great right now, but they do show some of their stuff that they have, and they have a great ugly sweater collection. So a lot of the sweaters, they light up and make sounds, so it's kind of cool. And there's an Art the Clown sweater, and it makes his signature clown horn sound. So
awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, they have a picture of it. It's pretty cool. It shows it has a picture of Art the Clown with a Christmas wreath around his face, and it says it's the most terrifying time of the year.
That's incredible.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
They have an Exorcist one called it says full of Christmas spirit. That's funny. And it's got Reagan's like messed up face on the front, like she's possessed.
Naturally.
They have a Michael Myers one. It says slashing through the snow. That's pretty cool.
Yep.
They have an Annabelle one, coming home for Christmas. That's funny.
Ooh, I'm on it.
Let's see. They have a Ghostface one. It says just the tip. Oh my gosh.
Oof.
They have a Pennywise one. It says come home for Christmas. Chucky, the Happy Holidays from our family to yours, and it has him and
Tiffany.
Tiffany and their son on the sweater, and it says
Glenn.
Happy Holidays. Yeah, from our family to yours. That's funny.
Okay.
Yep. So that's it. So I mean, they have some cool Christmas sweaters at this Spirit Christmas store. So
Are
unfortunately,
you a
not
sweater
around
guy?
us. You know, I'm not really.
I'm not either.
My wife. Yeah, it's funny because like I'm always kind of wearing short sleeve shirts, and then I'm always complaining that I'm cold, and my wife's like, "Well, wear a sweater or something." I'm like, yeah, I could, but I don't.
Oh, no, I'm a hoodie guy though. I'll wear a hoodie like real quick.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, that's usually a transition. It's either going to be a short sleeve shirt or a hoodie. No in between.
Yeah. So let's see here.
I'm just trying to decide if I'd get that. I'd have to go Google it. I'm curious to see what that Amityville sweater looks like because I've been wanting to get an Amityville horror t-shirt, but an Amityville sweater, I mean, maybe. We'll see. If it's itchy, no way. I think that's the biggest turnoff for me with sweaters is they're just itchy sometimes.
Oh yeah. Okay, real quick. So Terrifier 3 is going to be coming home for the holidays on digital and other media. Let's see here. Okay, so it's going to be finding its way to video on demand on November 26th.
Genius.
And if you want to own this as a hard copy on physical media, there's going to be a variety of sets coming out on December 17th. So that's cool.
Just in time. Get it under the tree. Oh, or stocking stuffer. That's cool.
Yeah, so they're going to have a DVD, a collector's edition Blu-ray, collector's edition 4K and Blu-ray, and then a collector's edition 4K Blu-ray Steelbook. So yeah, there's going to be bonus features including making of featurette, a creepy twist on the traditional Yule log with the eulogy log, featuring David Howard Thornton as Art the Clown, and much more. So that's really cool. So I'm definitely looking forward to checking that out, you know, on at home on video on demand.
Yeah, for sure. If anybody heard our Halloween episode, we talked about the Terrifier franchise, so you should check that out if you haven't heard it, and you'll hear how much we really enjoy that franchise.
All right, so one little fun story I'll end this with. So me and Dave, you know, we are both huge fans of Friday the 13th, the franchise, but specifically, Part 3 is a really fun entry in that franchise. It's Part 3 in 3D, and so of all places, at the Academy Museum. Now, this is the museum for like the Academy that does like the Oscars and stuff, right?
Okay.
So they are going to be showing Friday the 13th Part 3 there. And so like Larry Zerner, he's the guy that played Shelley, and he's now a lawyer. So on December 27th, that's when the showing's going to be. He says on social media, Larry Zerner says the Academy Museum is screening Friday the 13th Part 3 in 3D on December 27th. He says, here's the sentence I never thought I would write. He says, if you've never seen it in 3D or just want to get away from the family after too much Christmas, come on out and watch Jason Kill Me and a dozen others. Merry Christmas. So that's cool.
That is cool because I know him, man. You and I were going to interview him back in our Black Cat Shadow days.
Cool. Word. Okay.
Yeah, back in the day. But man, I still have yet got to see that movie in 3D because my love for that franchise started on VHS, and so there was no 3D version on VHS of that movie. And then I bought it digitally. I don't know if I've ever seen one easily available. Have you?
You mean a 3D version?
Yeah, like a Friday the 13th 3 where you had the option to watch it in 2D or 3D. I don't think I've come across that.
Well, I had a DVD that came with 3D glasses.
Oh.
And there was supposed to be like a 3D version, so I watched it with the 3D glasses. I mean, it was pretty cool. I don't know if it was like true 3D or whatever, but it seemed like it, with
That's
the glasses
cool.
and everything.
I should go check some half-price books or some Friday 13th, some movie trading companies, see if I can track that down. That'd be worth the $5.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you get the regular version and the 3D version, so yeah. So that's kind of a cool little thing. I mean, it's nowhere near us, so we're not going to be able to get to go see it, but it's kind of cool that the Academy is given like a nod to Friday the 13th Part 3.
There's still hope left in the world.
Yeah.
All right, you know what else we can hope for?
What's that?
Some good Amityville movies. Let's go into our Amityville segment.
Yeah, cool.
How can you watch that stupid shit? What the hell is wrong with you people?
Yeah, so this is always a fun time when me and Dave get to dig through the trenches and burn through the witches.
Love it.
How does that go?
In the back of my Dracula.
Yeah, so we dig through and there's countless Amityville movies now. Countless independent movies that have been made with just the Amityville name in the title. And so this is always fun that we both kind of pick a random movie and surprise each other. And I don't know. Do you want me to go first, Dave, with my pick?
You know what? Go ahead, because I really doubt we picked the same movie.
Yeah, that'd be hilarious. But so my pick it's called the Amityville Playhouse, and it's also known as the Amityville Theater, and this was released in 2015. I watched this one on Prime, and this one is basically like some high school kids just decided to make a movie in their hometown. They had access to this old theater, which was really cool. I mean, it's a really cool location. They're just kind of getting together to make a movie, these high school kids. So I didn't want to really, harp on it too much. It's not a great movie, but so here's the kind of the premise. This girl, she actually inherits an old theater, and it's in the town of Amityville. So, her and her friends, they decide that they want to go check out this theater. Basically, she has to make a decision if she wants to keep the theater or if she wants to sell it. So it's like a weekend. So she invites her boyfriend and some other friends to go check out this theater. And of course, anything set in Amityville, it's going to turn into something strange happening to them once they step foot in the theater. And it turns out the theater is haunted, and also it's poses a risk to the to our group of teenagers here. So there's definitely some possessions going on and some ghostly type stuff going on, things like that, and maybe some conspiracy type stuff with the town too. So so that's my pick. It's like I said, it's the only connection to Amityville movies is it's set in the town of Amityville. The acting is pretty weak. The script is pretty weak. The writing is not great. But the location, the theater is cool. There is actually some decent camera work. So it's interesting because you would think that, the camera at this kind of level, the camera work would not be great, but the technically this movie was decently made, except for the actors and the writing. But like I said, it's high school kids making a movie, so what you can't really put it down too much. They put forth the effort and made a movie, so I'll give them props where props are due there.
Nice. I almost watched that movie, not for this, but there was a day when I was gonna dig and go down the Amityville rabbit hole, and I think I even started it, and I got like 10 minutes in, and something just wasn't working for me. Probably my mood, my vibes, whatever, and I didn't finish it. So it's kind of funny that you picked it and actually watched it, because it's almost like a challenge. Now I'm like, well, shit, if Andy's watched it, I gotta watch it.
Yeah.
And so, and you'll be happy to know we did not pick the same Amityville movie this time. So there's that.
All right, cool.
But before I tell you what I watched, I want to ask you a simple question about your movie. Did you enjoy it? I know you said it wasn't like a great movie, but was it worth the one-time watch?
It was entertaining. It was worth a one-time watch.
Well, yeah, you finished it, right? So
it was kind of like if maybe like a low-budget Scream was made into an Amityville movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, hey, you got my attention, so I'm in. Let me see if I can get your attention. I watched a movie on Tubi. Looks like it's only available on Tubi, which kind of blows my mind, but it's from 2021. It was Amityville Hex. Do you know anything about this movie?
No, never heard of it.
All right, so this one was written and directed by Tony Newton, who I actually, I'm buddies with Tony, so I had to be kind of biased when watching this. But Tony actually worked on the movie that I was in, which was the Troma-produced Drive-In Grindhouse. If anybody wants to see a drive-in exploitation film, you can look at Drive-In Grindhouse. I'm actually in that, but I'm not going to tell you who I am, and don't let the bullet hole fool you. But I was like, okay, and then there was some Who's Who people in this, so that caught my interest. This movie is very simple, Andy. It's you never saw Host, did you, from 2020?
No, I did see that finally.
You finally watched it. We need to talk after this episode. So this seems like a similar idea of trying to film a movie during the pandemic without being able to be next to each other. So this movie is about a whole bunch of YouTubers who basically read a Amityville Hex, like a curse, and it becomes a viral sensation, and they all eventually die on their live feed doing horrible things to themselves. And so the biggest drawback for this movie is that it's really long. I was kind of shocked at how long it was. The movie's like an hour and 45 minutes roughly, and I think that's really long for an Amityville film. However, to say I wasn't entertained was a lie, because the way that the movie jumps around from different YouTubers, we kind of relate to that because we're podcasters, and so it would be like, if we made a movie, this is how it would go. And though some of the acting is bad, it knows it's bad, and it kind of rolls with it, especially when Shawn C. Phillips is on screen. Shawn C. Phillips directed Amityville, Bigfoot, and a few other movies. But talk about somebody that takes it to like a level 11. It's kind of funny, but you'll recognize people in this because Lloyd Kaufman shows up. You know Lloyd Kaufman, Andy, from Troma fame. It has Eric Anthony Russo, who is in a few other Amityville movies. It's got Mike Ferguson, who's been in a lot of movies, even some VHS stuff. And it's kind of fun to see, because the way it's filmed is it'll have let's use 10, because 10's an easy number. Let's say it's 10 different YouTubers, and so it'll do like the first YouTuber reading the hex, the second YouTuber reading the hex, and it'll go through kind of like you're introduced to these characters and you're seeing their lives, their YouTube, what they do on a daily basis. But then it'll be like day one with that YouTuber, and it'll show things don't appear to be right, or there's a little skepticism going on. But then as the movie progresses, you can kind of see each YouTuber losing their sanity until the end, where each YouTuber has a video where it shows them either A, kill themselves, or B, get killed by some force. And so it's definitely a unique way. It gets really bad reviews. I don't think it's as bad as the people who are reviewing it are saying it is. I'm not putting it on a pedestal, but I definitely enjoyed it for a one-time watch. And so I watched Amityville Hex, and maybe you should too.
Yeah, you mentioned Shawn C. Phillips. He's Coolduder from YouTube.
Oh my God, you nailed it! You knew that?
Hell yeah, I used to watch his channel a lot. But he's like one of the OG YouTubers. I remember like back in the mid 2000s when YouTube first kind of became a thing. He was like one of the first horror guys on there, showing off his horror DVDs and reviewing movies and stuff. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to check that one out. It sounds cool.
Yeah, it's on Tubi, so catch it while you can. If it leaves Tubi, it'll probably be on Freevee. That's usually what happens when it leaves one free platform, it goes to another. But I think since you are already familiar with him as a YouTuber, then you should definitely watch it.
Yeah.
But, speaking of things that you should definitely watch, I think it's time we talk about our main event, Andy.
Hell yeah, man. Thanksgiving.
The main event.
All right, so our main event is the slasher from last year. It's Thanksgiving. It's a movie that a lot of us were kind of in the know about because it was featured in some of the Grindhouse from back in, what was that, like 2007 or whatnot, whenever Eli Roth made that short film, and it was like a mock trailer, but little did we know it would become the movie that it did today. And it had a long and interesting production, but I gotta say, Andy, the turnout was quite impressive.
Yeah, man, we had to wait a long time to get this movie because I remember when that trailer, the fake trailer, was shown in between Planet Terror and
Death Proof.
Death Proof, yeah. And everybody was so excited. That was kind of like the standout fake trailer that everybody was talking about. And there's always this rumor that Eli Roth is going to make it into a movie. Year after year, we keep getting this rumor, and finally it happens. We're like, yeah. And so it's funny that I'm just now watching this movie for the first time.
Hey, man, I mean, why not watch it in the comfort of your own home? This movie, what platform did you watch it on?
So I actually rented this on Prime.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we rented it also. But, it's perfect for Thanksgiving time because there are a handful of Thanksgiving horror films, but even though it's a big holiday, it's not real big for horror movies, or it wasn't for a long time. And so I feel like this is going to be kind of the staple of Thanksgiving horror films. I mean, it's fucking called Thanksgiving. It doesn't get more staple than that, but the killer is iconic.
Yeah, he has a cool mask. The name is John Carver, I guess.
Yeah.
And I guess he's somebody
a pilgrim.
Yeah, he's a pilgrim, yeah. So, of course, the killer dresses up like a pilgrim, but does have a mask on that's, pretty creepy looking, I guess.
Andy, how great is it to see this big, high-budget, kind of Hollywood's behind it movie that did not disappoint on the practical effects?
Oh, yeah, man. I mean, the kills were great in this. I mean, you had a lot of gore, and, they didn't hold back. So I was really impressed with that.
How'd you feel about the acting in this movie?
Oh, I thought it was solid, and I think you have Patrick Dempsey is the sheriff?
Yep.
So he's a recognizable face. And then you have Gina Gershon, which she was just in the very she was in she kind of played a small part. I won't say exactly what.
She's kind of sprinkled throughout the movie.
Yeah, and but I was trying to think if there's any more familiar faces. I can't really think of anybody else though.
Some of the cast members were kind of like, I don't want to say they're Eli Roth alumni, but they were in Hostel Part 2.
Okay, yeah.
But I know that the main girl, I don't know of her, but after I was researching it, apparently she rose to fame through TikTok. And so it's just kind of the world that we're in now. A lot of social media influencers are finding the limelight. And I think that's really great because if you are good, then you should go on to do good things. And like you, I also felt like the acting was pretty solid in this movie. Obviously some characters are better than other, but I found all these characters to be very entertaining and believable because, Andy, this is not a straight horror movie. This is a horror comedy, but it does the comedy right because I feel like it mocks teenagers today, but it does it with a sense of style.
Oh, yeah. I think, just like with what Scream did back in the 90s, I think this is kind of like a similar type thing. And, this is like a teen slasher. So you have some high school kids getting carved up. And so, what's not to love about that? And it definitely falls into line with other movies like My Bloody Valentine and Prom Night, which are some of our favorite movies. So,
Absolutely.
we got to love this one, too.
Well, and I'm like nodding because I'm like, you said carved up. Did you do that on purpose?
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, slashers haven't died down by any means, but I feel like we could have another resurgence of slashers. Like, you can never have too many slasher horror films, and all the ones you have mentioned, like, there have been some... we don't have any sequels to My Bloody Valentine, and we had a few sequels to Prom Night, but for the most part, there was a remake that wasn't very good, and we haven't revisited that. And so with Thanksgiving coming out and being as successful as it was, they've already told us we're going to get a Thanksgiving Part 2, so I'm pretty excited about that.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I didn't even know that.
It's probably going to fall in the same territory as your legacy sequels, so you better watch out, because there's one you didn't know about. It's going to make its imprint, because if it's even remotely as successful as this one, it's going to stand out. And they talked about some of the returning cast members. I won't say who, but people who don't die in this movie should show up in that movie. But Andy, I think one of my favorite parts that made me laugh really hard, there was two. There's a scene where they're passing by. So the premise of this movie is pretty cool, because it's like in the beginning of the movie, there's it's almost like a knockoff Walmart. We'll just call it that because we all know what Walmart is. And they're having their big Black Friday special, which, take it how you want. Everybody feels a little different about Black Friday, but down to its core, what Black Friday used to and always it would open, either really, really late Thanksgiving night or really, really, really early, like stupid early Friday morning. And first come, first serve. People who get in early get the best deals, and they get the sales, and everybody in this town's going crazy to go in here and get like a free waffle iron, which was pretty damn funny, and then discounts on products. And you have this group of teenagers who couldn't care less about Black Friday because they're going to the movies, but one of the main characters sees the store and he's like, oh, I gotta pull over and get a new phone. And then they're like, what? We're going to the movies. And he's like, yeah, but my phone broke. How can I text during the movie if I don't have a phone? And I laughed so damn hard because that's so true. There's always somebody fucking with their screen lit up, in the movie theater on their phone. And I'm like, turn it off. But I mean, kids will be kids. That's funny. And then the other part that really made me laugh is there's this guy who like this isn't funny. He sells alcohol to kids, like it's a movie, whatever. He's like a big gun guy, and they're like, you can't sell guns to kids. And he's like, no, that'd be wrong. I sell alcohol to kids. But there's a few kids that come over that you could tell are like freshmen or something, and this guy who's having the party charges like $25 to get in. And so you think like, why would you charge to get into a party? And apparently it's a good party. So these kids walk up and they're like, so is it worth it? Like, we want to go, but we don't want to pay unless we know it's worth it. And the guy basically sets up a scenario where he talks about, when Ozzy left Black Sabbath, they thought it would be over, but on came Ronnie James Dio, and he's basically saying sometimes you just got to take a chance. And the kids were like, who's Black Sabbath? And the guy's like, get the fuck off my yard. And I laughed so hard because I'm an old school rocker. I mean, I like rap too, but, I've seen Black Sabbath twice. And so I like Ozzy. I like Black Sabbath. And it was just really funny. And it just kind of attests to, like, with generations, there's different taste in music. And it's always funny. It'd be like meeting somebody today that's, like, never seen Halloween. You're like, get the fuck out of my face. And so that kind of stuff is really funny to me. But I found the comedy to be really good, and I found the death scenes to be extremely good.
Yeah, there was definitely some cool gore, and this had a high body count too, which was good. That's what you need in a slasher movie. And I really like the whodunit aspect. We don't know who the killer is until the end, and there's a lot of suspects. They give us a lot of red herrings, I feel like.
Yeah, and I like rewatching this movie. Have you only seen it once?
Yeah.
Once you realize who the killer is, on your next rewatch, there's going to be a lot of things that like stand out to you. And if I'm being honest, I feel like the second watch is even better when you know what to expect because you're looking for subtle hints and they're all over the place.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, and we won't, I'm hoping that people have seen Thanksgiving before listening to this, but just in case we're the guys who are going to talk you into watching it, I'm pretty sure we both recommend it. We'll give you our ratings in a minute, but we're not going to ruin it for you. So if it hasn't been ruined yet, definitely check it out before that case happens. But I'm with Andy, man. The death scenes are many, but they're also extremely creative, and I was very happy about that.
Yeah, and this movie is also cat friendly, so I was happy to see that.
Dude, absolutely. When so me and the gang and I, cool in the gang, I don't know how you say it, but we went to the theater and saw this opening night, and I can handle pretty much anything in my horror movies, but like anybody, there are places where I draw a line and I don't want to see certain things. And, like I don't like sexual abuse in horror. If it's in the movie and it's relevant to the plot, fine, I get it. But I'm a massive cat lover, and so is Andy. And, a lot of people are dog lovers too. None of us want to see our pet friends get hurt in horror. And it seems like cats and dogs are kind of a trend in horror movies. And it's like, okay, as long as you don't show it, I could be fine. And there was a scene in this movie that Andy, I don't know about you, but I thought something bad was going to happen to the cat.
Yeah, but yeah, it turns out, I mean, it's a death scene, obviously, but not, so like, we won't say who it is, but this person has a cat. And after the kill, it was kind of surprising, the killer actually feeds the cat.
Yes, it made my heart so happy.
And like gave him, and gave the cat a little scratch on the head. I was like, oh man.
Gave it some pets. It was like, you do your thing, cat. And I was just like, yes, still hope for humanity.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you brought that up because I forgot about that. That was an amazing scene.
Yeah.
And then, of course, this movie has the ending that you want in your slasher, and that's like, well, we didn't find the killer. There's no body. And And so, luckily, it leaves it open for a sequel, and we're going to get it. And, maybe something to do next Thanksgiving. But is there anything else you want to talk about to the movie, or do you want to give it a rating?
Yeah, I think we can give it a rating. Yeah, you want me to go first?
You know what? It was your first watch. You go first.
Okay. So for me, I think I'm going to give this 4 out of 5 Screaming Skulls.
Hell yeah, you are. I'm glad to see you're a fan of the Pilgrim slasher. And we just broke some new ground, Andy, because you have officially outrated me on a horror movie because I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5 Screaming Skulls. I like it, but I'm glad that you like it more.
Yeah, I could see watching this every Thanksgiving for sure, yeah.
Yeah, this definitely earns its spot in the horror genre of a slasher. It's got a great killer, great cast, great kills. Honestly, I should probably give it a higher rating, but looking back at some of the other movies I've rated, I'm trying to be honest with things. And who knows, after a third watch, it might go higher. But if I give anything a 3, that means it's definitely worth the watch. And so I really liked it. And Andy, I'm really glad you did too.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely worth the watch. I'm excited to see the sequel, and like for people that haven't seen this yet, and you've seen the fake trailer that came out like many years ago, I would say like the movie kind of follows the trailer. I mean, it's not. I feel like the trailer was like really kind of over the top as far as some of the things that happen, and this movie doesn't quite go there. I would say, but it still follows the trailer pretty well, I think.
Awesome, man. So, if we've talked you into it, or, if you want to watch it, my iPhone says it is available on Netflix. So, Andy, I don't know if you have Netflix, but you probably could have watched it for free.
Well, the thing is, so let's talk about that. So, yes, my app says it's on Netflix as well. So, I do have the basic Netflix with ads, right? Like the basic,
sure,
the lowest tier package or whatever.
Sure.
So, I pulled it up on Netflix and it says, nope. You got to upgrade your plan to watch it on Netflix. I'm like,
are you fucking
what?
kidding me? You don't get access to all the movies?
No, you like on the base plan, you don't get access to everything. You have to pay more to get all the stuff, which is BS.
Yeah, like I thought if you're willing to sit through the ads, you would still have access to whatever's in their catalog. But that's,
right, yeah.
Man, they're going to lose a lot of people once they hear this episode. They're going to be like, what? So, hey, the movie's out there. You can buy it on physical media or you can rent it on Amazon. And if Netflix keeps doing their shit, it'll probably be somewhere else too. So, Andy, you got anything else you want to talk about before we let these screamers go?
No, man, I just had a really good time talking some horror with you, Dave.
Awesome. Last thing I'll leave you guys with is just let you know we really appreciate each and every one of you who have reached out to us and that download these episodes. It means a lot to us, and we're really happy to see what's going on the social media platforms out there. You know, we have everything that we can think of. We're on X, we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, but you know, our TikTok's kind of blowing up a little bit, and that's kind of where we're going to focus a lot of our energy because that's where people seem to be. And so if you got the TikTok and you want to communicate with us and you're a fan of the show, come follow us. We're Scream and Skull Podcasts on there, pretty easy to find. And Andy and I like to riff on each other a little bit, so we'll post pictures and things. We hunt horror movies, we go see horror movies. We like to post posters of horror movies. We're big fans of that. But as of lately, we like to, like I said, riff on each other. One of the things that we're doing is every day, if not every other day, we take turns making fun of each other, but in good fun and in the vein of a horror movie. And if you want to know what I'm talking about, come find us on TikTok. I hope you enjoy it as much as everybody else seems to do it, because we're having a lot of fun doing the podcast, and we're having a lot of fun interacting with everybody. So, Andy, I guess we'll let that be that, man.
All right, sounds good. So that wraps up this episode. And until next time, I'm Abnormal Andy.
And I'm Phantom Dark Dave.
And thanks for listening to the Screaming Skull Podcast.